What is DNS server? Domain name system. Domain name system. Can you tell port number? DNS port number. I'm not able to hear. 53. Okay. So like this. What is a DNS server? So for example, you are open a something. For example, I open a w3schools.com. Now the website is open. But in all communication we use IP address only. So what happened? This DNS server maps name to IP address. DNS server name to IP address. Maps name to IP address. So if you give name, you'll get a IP address. Just normal example like a CMD ping like this. So here it is, you got some IP address and ping. So first you got IP and that's why showing reply from the IP address only, not reply from the particular name. Okay. So this is DNS. Okay. Um, Actually we have to explain the hierarchical part like this. Okay. It take time. It will take at least 40 minutes minimum to explain these things. Okay. That's why I'm worrying. Okay. Here is a hierarchical model of DNS server is there. Generally, when you are searching from your PC, you are searching for something. For example, I use always technet dot microsoft.com. Okay, so for example, I type this one in my browser. Okay, what will happen? I have a little bit other story is also there, so I'm not going with that story now. I have my own DNS server, right? What is your DNS server? So you have your own local DNS server is there. Okay, you have your local DNS. So the query is going to local DNS server. This local DNS server don't know IP address of this one. So what it will do? It forward the query to forwarder. This is we call it as a forwarder. Okay, this is a forwarder. What is the forwarder contains? Forwarder contains root hints. Forwarder contains root hints. There is a 13 root servers are there. Root DNS servers. Root DNS server. It means dots. There is a like a the name of these servers are like A, maintained by ICANN, maintained by ICANN, C, D, E, F, like this. Totally 13 root DNS servers are there. Okay, like this, which is maintained by ICANN. ICANN maintaining this 13 root DNS servers. Here I have a technet.microsoft.com dot is there. This is a dot servers. So this is called a root. We call that one as a root. Okay, what is this root DNS server contain? Top level domain information. For example, this is my a root. For example, this is for example F, okay? And dot there's ABCDF 13 is there. This is one root. Lot of roots, one root, one server. This contains the information. .com IP address. Okay. .org IP address. .net IP address. Okay. Mm, anything, any .coms, .orgs, any other dot extension, .tv, dot forget completely. You people are not also speak. India, um, like that. Live. So many are there, no? So there, this is all called a top level domains. Root contains top level domain information. Root contains all top level domains and their IP address. Okay. Now, what it will do? First, it reach a root DNS server. It reach a root DNS server. So one of the root DNS server, okay, and ask, I want com IP address because first one is com IP address, right? First it reads dot and try to find com IP address. Now I got a com IP address. Big story. I'm I will speak fastly. Okay, now I will contact com server. So what is this? It is a com server. This is a com DNS server. Okay, this is a .com. So I got a IP address of .com. So I reach .com and ask, I want Microsoft.com IP address. Okay, Microsoft.com IP address. Like it contains a lot of .coms like a w3schools.com, google.com, facebook.com, like all .com IP addresses available under .com server. So it contains a Microsoft.com IP address. Now I got a .com IP. So .com. Uh, First of all, I want to know .com address from here, and here now Microsoft.com IP address I want to know. So then I got the Microsoft.com IP address. Next. Now I know Microsoft.com IP address, right? So I reach Microsoft.com with IP address. Okay. Then I will ask Microsoft.com DNS server to that one. So I will ask, where is technet.microsoft.com? I want IP address. Okay. Now I will get IP address of technet.microsoft.com IP address. Okay. So this is it. So how much fast have it told? Forwarder knows root hint IP address. There is a 13 root hint DNS servers are there. like A to A B C D F G H, like that. 13 servers are there. I reach one of the server. What is this root DNS server contains top level domain information, top level domain and their IP addresses. .com, .org, .net, .in, .xyz, okay, .live, okay, like that, .co, okay, .us, .gov. These are top level domains in a top level manner only. Sub level domains are different. .co, .in, sub level domain. .gov.in, sub level domain. Okay, so this is a top level domain, their IP addresses. So my forwarder got the .com IP address. Now I got my .com IP address. Then I reach .com server and find out where is a Microsoft.com, their IP address. Now I got a Microsoft.com server IP address. Then I ask, I want a technet.microsoft.com IP address. Think like technet.microsoft.com as a host. Okay. Now I got IP address. Then technet.microsoft.com IP address is given back to local DNS server. Local DNS server given to our computer. Now I got a technet.microsoft.com IP address. Then I will directly communicate to technet.microsoft.com server. Okay, like this. This is how it is actually happens when you are accessing through the internet. Once you are access, the data stores in your cache or cookies kind of stuff, right? So next time you don't need to search, you can able to get it directly. Okay, so it maps a name and IP address. So when you ask a name and you will get a IP address, but in a searching, so there is a lot of things are there: root level domain, top level domain, secondary level domain, subdomains, and host is server. What is a fqdn? Fully qualified domain name. fqdn, fully qualified domain name. Why we should type everything? Yeah, it will be there here. Happily you can copy paste sometimes. Fully qualified domain name. It means your host name and domain name and your top level domain name. Okay, your top level domain. Like example, pc1 dot domain1 dot com. Like this. This is a fully qualified domain name. So this is the PC name, host name, domain name, and this is also a domain name. Means top level domain name. Here it is. You can see this is a path, top level domain, domain name, subdomain, protocol. Okay, like that. That is a fqdn. Next one is netbios. What is this netbios? It means netbios are different. Computer netbios means nothing but your computer name and your IP address. Mainly IPv4 address only. For IPv6, not a NetBIOS. For IPv6, it is called LLMNR. Find out that is what is LLMNR. Okay. NetBIOS is that one. Computer NetBIOS. For example, I have a domain. This is my domain name. Okay. What is a domain NetBIOS? Is nothing but domain one. Okay. So if this is the domain and you want a domain NetBIOS, domain name, and this is the domain NetBIOS. This is computer NetBIOS, PC1. So I'll put a PC1 dot. It is take computer netbios means PC1. Domain netbios means this one. fqdn is a complete with a top level domain. NetBIOS don't go with the top level domain, no top level domains. Next, what is this DNS? DNS usually fqdn, fully qualified domain, and IP address can be anything, IPv4 or IPv6. It accept both the things, but NetBIOS won't accept that one. Okay, so there is a lot of things are there to tell. Records are there, DNS records. DNS in the record manner it will store every data. So we'll go to DNS first. Oh, so whenever we don't have less time, whenever we have a less time only, not enough time, hurry modes, it is giving. So no problem. Here, lookup zones are there. Lookup zones. What are the lookup zones? Forward lookup zone. I said lookup zone. And another one is reverse lookup zone. Forward lookup zone is like you can say FLZ. Okay, FLZ, forward lookup zone, is named to IP address. Okay, reverse lookup zone RLZ, IP address name. Guys, you are not given reply. Do you want class tomorrow or not? See, this is my DNS server. This is forward lookup zone. You can see a zone data here like a domain. These are the servers. Like you can open system, you can see fqdn. This is the host name fqdn, and this is the IP address. This is the IP address. Reverse lookup zone not yet configured. We will configure it. So I will configure reverse lookup zone also. Right click, new zone. Next, you have a three zones are there: primary, secondary, and stub zone. Anything you can configure, but first primary only. Here we have to give network ID, means network portion only we should give. Don't give zeros. Don't give zeros here. Only network portion. This is a zone name. It is showing like this. Anything? No, no problem. Anything. See, it is. This is a only IP to network type. This is a network one. I'm going to here server. Select this one option Ptr Record. Apply. Okay. I'm going to C1. Unselect this one. Apply. Select again. Apply. Okay. Like this. So I'm going to reverse and refresh. See, IP to fqdn. Reverse lookup zone. Reverse lookup zone. IP to fqdn. Forward lookup zone. Name to IP address. So that is a thing. Okay. IP to name. So which name it is? fqdn. Fully qualified domain name it shows. Forward lookup zone, you can have a zone like for example contasso.com. You have a domain. Under domain you can have a record like a PC1 host a and IP address like this. Maybe you can create a 51. Okay, so like this. So yeah, someone send a message finally. Am I connected or disconnected? Yes. Okay. At least you some reply. Good. So we'll continue today. Tomorrow study. Any doubts also you can ask me, contact me. You can tell directly, right? Message. Exactly tell me you don't want tomorrow class, right? No problem. Okay. So we'll complete this one today. That's it. And I will forward one or two extra videos if possible. Go through once and try to do it. Okay. So no problem. DNS is more theoretical, not a practical one. Okay. So like records are like this. Here it is in a reverse lookup zone. You have a zone like 16.172 dot in hyphen addr dot, I forget that one, ARPA, right, ARPA. So this is a record. Now here how it is look like 172.16.051.051 pointer record, PTR record, pointer record, PC1 dot com. Okay. So actually in reverse lookup zone, actually if you take reverse lookup zone, in reverse lookup zone, don't mind about your domain. It will only check your network only. If network, that's it. Any domain it will consider. Okay, so this one. Now we'll see the records and what are those records and what are the use of those records. 1 second, we'll see. So first one is SOA. This is called a startup authority. SOA records host a record. Host a record means IPv4, sorry, address and host. Okay, IP address is so host and IP is IPv4 address. Okay. Next is a host AAAA. This is means host IPv6. If you are having a IPv6, that is AAA, it will shows. Okay. Uh, it is a startup authority. Okay. What is SOA? For example, current SOA number is 10. Okay. Now I add a record and I deleted a record. Okay. What happened? It become 12. For example, I add a record. It become 11. I delete a record. It become 12. Means any changes, any modification occur, it increase the number. It will check how many it will do. It will tell you how many changes occur in your zone. In your zone, how many changes occur, it will tell. You can have multiple zones in one single DNS server. Next, NS record, name server, means if you have any DNS servers in the network, you can tell here any other DNS server information. Name server, CNAME, it is alias record. alias record, it means a duplicate record. MX, mail server record. PTR, SRV, service location, service location record. It means um, you are in a domain controller, right? It will tell you who is your domain controller. It will tell you who is your domain controller. I will show you now. So SRV record. So anything you can take underscore MSDCS. It means you are a domain controller. Latif.com not only is just a domain, it is also having a domain controllers. Okay, not just a DNS zone. It is also having a domain controller. Active Directory is installed, right? So compulsory these records will be there. If these records are not there, if these records are not there, these records are not there means your domain controller won't work. Okay, I'm going to DC sites. Sorry, TCP Kerberos. What is Kerberos? Authentication protocol. Kerberos services, right? Domain, port number 88. Who is giving Kerberos service? Who is giving Kerberos service? CTS3 win S1 latif.com dot. You can see this one. Okay, so this SRV records will tell you who is your domain controller, who is your that particular service, who is providing a particular service. Kerberos, LDAP, global catalog, who is your global catalog server, who is your global catalog server. Okay, like that. So it's a service location. It will tell who is providing this particular service. That is SRV records. Last one is PTR record. It's a pointer record. It's a pointer record means we use it in a reverse lookup zone. So like you can see reverse lookup zone PTR records. Okay. Um, Here I created a host record, right? Like this. Also I can create another record PC3 sorry PC2 host AAAA record IPv6. For example, I'm going to maybe okay, this is some IPv6 example, some IPv6 no problem like this. Okay, PC3 host A record. For example, this is my web server. For example, this is my web server. But a web server, you have to type in a website like this, right? So how to type in a website? You have to type pc3 dot dot com, right? So instead of that one, people who are accessing my website, they should type like this only, not with the pc3. They should type www. Then what I'm doing is I put a www CNAME names alias record to pc3.com. Okay, this is alias record. I showed in a W3 schools. It is showing different name. It means it is alias record. Actually, it is not a W3 schools. It is having some different name. Of course, for MX also same example. Okay, this is only I will tell MX your wish to do it. No problem. This is practically will try. I'm trying on a .com only. Okay, or you can create your new zone, forward lookup zone, new zone. Next, these are three zones are there plus one. So here also will tell zone information. When you create a zone, whether it is forward lookup zone or reverse lookup zone, whether it is forward lookup zone or a reverse lookup zone, three zones are there. One is primary, second one is secondary, third one is stub, next Active Directory integrated. Okay? Active Directory integrated. So primary means you'll get a read and write. Secondary means read only type. Means it's a secondary one. That's it. Stub only NS records, stores only NS records, and glue host A record, usually like glue host A records. Active Directory integrated is a optional. It is an optional one. It means if you do check, okay, if you do check mark, then DNS data store in Active Directory database. If you uncheck DNS data store in C colon slash uh, Windows system 32 DNS folder, it will store here. Understand? The data is stored in ntds.dit. You uncheck it, it will store like primary, like this. What is this secondary? Secondary means second zone. I'm creating a contest.com. Next, this is a record name, anything, no problem, finish. So I created a new zone. See, SY is a 1. SY is a 1, NS is this one. So I'm creating a account. No, host A record. First one is PC1 and 172.16.0. Anybody remember my thing I created here? 51. Okay, good. Next is a PC2 2001 colon A. Just IPv6. IPv6 point PTR is not there. Throwable error. Next PC3 172.16.0.80 PTR. That's it. Only I will tell this one. See, it is PC1. If you open, it is see pc1.contessa.com, and this is the IP address. This is IPv6. IPv6. This is PC3. Okay, and if you refresh, you can see it become 4. 1, 2, 3 records are added. Now 3 times it is up. For testing, I'm going to CMD. I'm going to ping each one. Ping pc1.contoso.com. See, it won't communicate, but you can see IP address is there. See, system is not available. That's why it is showing like this. But you can get name and IP address. No, it is not required. Next one is PC2, right? Okay, because of IPv6 effect, that's it. PC3 will see that one. So I'm going to create CNAME. CNAME www. So you can see www.contoso.com. Browse and and find out PC3. Now can you see www alias pc3.contessa.com. Now what I am going to do is, instead of pc3 communication, I put a www. Look at now. See, when I said www.contessa.com, I'm pinging to pc3.com and pc3 IP address only. Okay, it won't communicate anyway. But look at this thing. This is called alias. Means front end we are seeing one site. In back end it can be a different name and that having a some IP address. So this is here. Here go to the properties on contessa.com. You can see zone name like this. Okay, because it's a active directory not integrated. Latif.com, so you can see, go to the properties. Active directory is stored in, sorry, data is stored in active directory because of it is active directory integrated. And you have to refresh. This is reverse lookup zone. What is this primary and secondary? Okay, what is this primary and secondary? You see, I created a sorry, here it is. In this DNS server, for example, it's a server DNS1 server name, DNS2 server name. I created a zone contasso.com as a primary, zone I created. So I will get a read and write. So I can able to add and delete, modify records here. In, and in this one, I created a same thing, contasso.com secondary. So here only read option means if I have a record here, if I have a records here, those records will transfer to secondary. That's it. In secondary, you can't modify, you can't delete, you can't create records. But it is used for a backup and fault tolerance purpose only. Okay, just like a backup or fault tolerance or a load balancing purpose, we are using secondary zone. This is the primary, this is secondary. We transfer the data from primary to secondary. Okay, of course transferring information is also there, like secondary will send, so I will use a different color for that one. Secondary send SOA information. My SOA is 20. For example, this SOA is 20. It tell my SOA is 20. For example, in primary SOA is 25. Then it will tell my SOA is 25. Okay, it will tell my SOA is 25. So then what happened? Yes, there is a difference is there for my SOA to your SOA. Let's exchange the records. Let's exchange the records. Then it will send the records. Now this SOA become 25. This become 25 like this. So we can exchange it. So understand guys, primary zone means it's the first one. We will get read and write copy, and this is a only read purpose only. For load balance and fault tolerance purpose. Means if this down is, this server is down, no problem, still we have records. That is the purpose. So this is about your zone data. Of course few more things are there, not much. This is a very good one. I explained this one only. What is recursive query, iterative query? I didn't give a name, but I explained this one only actually. This is a catchy. So see, client one query for a server a.contoso.com. your local DNS server or a ISP provider server, search for server.a.console.com and it store that information in the cache. In the cache, it stores. If someone is trying to query same information, client to also want to get IP address of server A. Now immediately the cache DNS server giving a information. So what is the cache DNS server will do? Depends upon user queries. Um, there is a stub zones and all that. So okay, so depend like a you know why we are always test the network with why always we test network with google.com, because lot of people are using google.com and out of all streaming, why YouTube and other streaming things are more popular, because of lot of people are accessing at a time the cache where you will get IP address faster, you can communicate much faster. If you type Microsoft, it will take lot of time because very less people are typing Microsoft logins, so that's why it is like that. So a lot of things are there, so don't worry. Just already I shared that PPTs. Try it, guys. Okay. This is about your DNS forward lookup zone, reverse lookup zone, how it is look like, DNS records. Again, I'm going to repeat once again. What is a DNS? Domain name system. Name to IP address. What is FQDN? Fully qualified domain name. NetBIOS means name and IP address only, not fully qualified domain name. Okay, mainly NetBIOS considered as a IPv4. If you have IPv6, that is LLMNR. So forget about it again. What is DNS server? Domain name system. Port number 53. What is DNS will do? If you give name and you will get a IP address. Okay. If you give name, you will get a IP address. I given already examples for that one. I'll type examples directly here. Okay. You will get some IP address from it, right? Like that. Okay. Next. Next one is we have a two lookup zones. One is forward lookup zone. Okay, short name is FLZ. Another one is a reverse lookup zone. In forward lookup zone, name to IP address. So in forward lookup zone, we have a domains. Multiple domains are there. Latif.com, contoso.com, example.com, anything. Under each .com, you have a records. Different records are there. SOA, A, 4A, NS, CNAME, MX, SRV, Ptr records. In reverse lookup zone, we have a Ptr record, SOA record, and NS records are there. In forward lookup zone, we have a SOA record, NS record. We have all records except Ptr. In forward lookup zone, we have all records except Ptr. In a reverse lookup zone, we have only Ptr plus SOA and NS records. Remember that one. What is SOA? Start of authority. When you add, modify, or delete any record, the number of the SOA number will increases. Host A means IPv4, 4S means IPv6, NS means name server. Any DNS servers in your network, it will show like that. Okay. CNAME record. CNAME means is a alias record. Duplicate name. So different name for a same host. MS record, mail server record. SRV means where is your service host, that will be tell by SRV. Pointer records. So IP to name. This is your thing. Okay. And whenever you go to any forward lookup zone or reverse lookup zone, when you create, that is a primary record. Second one is secondary. It means whatever the records in primary will transfer to secondary to maintain two copies. In secondary, we cannot modify any record. We can create, we can modify, we can delete it. In primary only we can able to do it. stub zones only to store NS and glue host records. Active Directory integrated is optional. If you check it, your DNS data stores in Active Directory database. If you uncheck it, Active Directory stores in a different DNS folder, separate DNS folder. So this is point. Anything missing or any doubts? Please tell me. A lot of things are there to speak about it. For NS lookup, try to find what is NS lookup. Okay, so NS lookup is like a Linux big command type. So what it is, NS lookup will tell your server and its IP address, your DNS server and its IP address. So you can go to NS lookup. So it is showing a local host. It means I didn't configure properly something inside. I will configure that one. Okay, leave it for so I'll let time up. You don't require that much of depth also. Okay, so I told about DNS cache also. Okay, find out what is a DNS cache. So once a query done, okay, for a second time, for second time, no need of full query, no need of full query. We have the client will get IP address get IP address from DNS cache server. Okay, so this is it, guys, for a DNS. Only two parts are there. That is print server and work folder. I will forward print server. At least try it is quite easy. Okay, because it include the group policies. That's it. Any queries? Anything? Please tell me. No problem.